will be going. You will be joined by people from other areas, other states, and all over. We have 2 coming from Korea, from Korean, who want to join us too. We've had people in the past come from Hong Kong also. But the point is, we're going, and all this is possible. Later on, I'll be showing you things, but it's because of all the volunteers too. We have 35 volunteers going there. And what they do is they wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning to make the sandwiches, kimbaps for you guys, in order to keep the cost down low. They go to the stage at 6 in the morning, make all the stages. You'll be seeing some videos of that later on. So let's give them a big hand too. Come on, guys. Yeah, and we also, among the volunteers, are nurses. We also have a federal agent, government agent, who joins us every year with his whole family and stuff. So you guys are in good hands, all right? Okay, so we go to DC every year, and we do a lot of things. And how do we do it? It's because of God, by grace of God. We've been doing this since 2010, and since 2010, Pastor Dan has gone to every single one of us. Let's give him a big hand. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 17. And also, Kathy has gone to us from 2012 every year in a row. And, Hope has gone there like 5 years, I believe, 5 out of the years. So let's also... And the point is, they go because they believe in you guys. And they want you guys to have the heart, the hunger, to be the voice for the 3 million people who died of starvation. And on behalf of the 120,000 political prisoners, the tens of thousands of the North Korean refugees who have no place to go, the 20,000 orphans who are still living in Korea, or in China right now, roaming the streets. So that's why we're going there, and that's why we need you guys to make a difference for them by being their voice. We've been doing this, and we've been working with all members of the government. The President Barack Obama, back in 2008, right before he became president, he actually supported us through the KCC. North Koreans should not have to leave their country just to enjoy the basic necessity of life, liberty, and justice. And when they do leave, they should be entitled to the protection of the laws in China. That's what he said back in 2008, but our North Korean refugees are still having a hard time coming because China still will not allow them to leave to their country, and our State Department has done very little. So we're going there to say, please continue to press the government of China to just give them refugee status. Just let them come to America, or let them come to Europe, or there's 28,000 in South Korea. Let them go to South Korea, but do not send them back to North Korea. 2004 was when KCC was first formed. President George W. Bush congratulated us for starting a grassroots movement with 1,500 pastors gathering together for a powerful prayer at the LAX Hilton. And he also joined us in saying that the North Korean people should not have to suffer the current things that they are suffering. So we have 2 presidents that sent the KCC comments regarding how they support us. There's congressmen, senators, all of these things. And in 2013, we worked with a whole lot of other groups, and we passed the North Korean Orphan Adoption Act. Any one of you guys here when we did that? That was 4 years ago. So yeah, you guys were there, I think, and you were there too, and Matt, I think that's when you started. Bottom line is, what was the North Korea Orphan Bill in 2013? We couldn't pass it in 2011. 2013-14 was a new congressional year, and basically it said that the North Korean orphans, wherever they may be, let them quickly enter into the U.S. and be adopted by waiting parents. It's a great bill. But the problem is, passed in 2013, not a single North Korean orphan has entered into the US under this act. So that's why we're going back. One of the things you guys will be doing is, look, Congress, members of Congress, members of Senate, you helped us pass this bill because you passed it. Our president signed it into law. Now we have a new president. What's his name? Trump. Yes, we have a new President Trump. President Trump, please push the State Department to allow the North Korean orphans to expeditiously enter into the US and be adopted by waiting US parents. And also there are several other bills that we're trying to pass, and I'm not going to get too much into that. Every year when we go into visit members of Congress, we have a folder, and in the folder we have certain things that we're trying to pass. One of the items that we're trying to pass is the North Korean Human Rights Reauthorization Act. Basically, you're going to be meeting someone at there. His name is Joseph Kim. He's a North Korean refugee who came into the United States as a child, but not under the North Korean Orphan Adoption Act. He came under this act. And this was one of the acts that KCC in 2004 helped pass. It was sponsored by Senator Sam Brownback at that time. There's two other legislations that we're trying to get passed also. And the top one there modifies the North Korea Human Rights Act to allow free press for information, radio stations, internet, Christian broadcasting to go into North Korea. And then also the bottom one there, HR 1644, basically states that the government of North Korea is using all this money for their wells and things. And did you know that America has a sanctions against a lot of the North Korean officials, because a lot of them go around and they do have a lot of money. And so basically this one says anybody who helps the government of North Korea do these illegal things, their funds will be tied. So these are the three legislations, and in your booklet is a copy, that summary of all of the legislations. Next. This is a picture of the Sam Brownback. He's the governor of Kansas right now, and back then he was the senator, United States senator from Kansas. And in 2004, how the whole KCC got started was, in about February of 2004, I had an intern who was working in my office who was a high school sophomore who went to school in Irvine. And I asked her, can you call this Senator Brownback's office in Washington, D.C. and find out what's all this thing about the North Korea Freedom Act and what it is? So she called. She called, left him a message. Her name was Sarah. And a person named Sean Wu called back. Sean Wu is there on the right there. He was the general counsel for Sam Brownback. He's a Harvard graduate and a lawyer. He called back and spoke to a high school sophomore, Sarah, and said to him, and Sarah is Benjamin's older sister at the time. Hey, you know what? The North Korea Freedom Act, it's not going to pass. There's not enough support. You know, where are you, Korean Americans? I need some grassroots support from you guys. And his exact words were, it'll take a miracle for it to pass. And that's when KCC got his fire. They started a 40-day prayer movement, 40 churches all across America, and we met at the LAX Hilton on September 27th. Senator Brownback flew in, and he said, today, I am proud to please that the North Korea Human Rights Act passed in the Senate, and we'll go to the president for signature. Let's get an amen for that. And that was 2004. And through that act, a lot of North Korean refugees came in. But passing an act does not help it by itself. And the reason is because not a single North Korean refugee entered into the US in 2006, 2 years afterwards. So a lady named Deborah Fikes went to meet with the president, George W. Bush, and said, Mr. President, since the passage of the North Korean Human Rights Act, not a single North Korean refugee has entered into the United States. This was around February or March of 2016. And in June of 2016, the first 6 North Korean refugees entered into the United States. The president made it happen. He wasn't aware. His exact words to Ms. Fikes was, "Is that right?" And he pushed the State Department. And that's what we've been doing ever since, is push our State Department, push our president, push members of Congress to be the voice on behalf of the voiceless North Korean orphans, children, and our brothers and sisters. So how are we doing? How are we going to be their voice in Washington, D.C.? One of the things that we will be doing is in front of the White House. We will go in front of the White House and we will hold a prayer vigil. We hold a prayer vigil there. We're Christians. Everything we do, what do we do? What do we start everything with? Prayer. We do a prayer. We pray loudly. We have prayer times, and we also have many of you do speeches there too. And then also we have our North Korean refugee do his speech. We have Suzanne Schulte, who's been with us since 2004. A lot of the North Korean human rights groups have come and gone, but Suzanne Schulte has been consistent ever since. She started before us too. I'm going to show you a little video of the White House and also a walkathon and the speeches.
자유북한!
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 Dear President Obama, my name is Shauna Chung and I am here in front of the White House to inform you that my peers and I are here to speak on behalf for the voiceless. As a worried sister, knowing that I have brothers and sisters starving out there with only one piece of bread as their entire meal, or knowing that they have no permanent place to call home, living in dangerous and filthy areas like railroads or the streets, like my peer Ji Song-ho, who is standing next to me. President Obama, I request that you help these young souls and implement the North Korean Adoption Act, which you signed into law to allow them into the homes of welcoming families here in the United States. Also, I ask you to put an end to the North Korean slave labor. These are my blood-related brothers and sisters who work for 20 hours a day and leave with no money by the end of the day. The North Korean government receives over $1 billion per year for the slave labor that they hold. My brothers and sisters are forced to work as slaves, and many are tortured or even raped. With all these atrocities going around me, I simply cannot just stand by and not do anything. Here I am today, standing with the KCC and my peers to fight for their freedom and speak on behalf of the voiceless. Thank you.
Dear Mr. President, my name is Diane Kang and I am here with the Korean Church Coalition in front of the White House on Pennsylvania Avenue to speak on behalf of the voiceless North Koreans who are imprisoned and publicly executed without trial in North Korea. These are my blood-related brothers and sisters and I am here to be their voice.
Dear Mr. President, my name is Ellen Kim. I'm here to speak on behalf of the 250,000 political prisoners in North Korean prison camps who lack voices of their own. Many of the prisoners are my age and are in prison for the crimes of their family members. These are my blood-related brothers and sisters, and I am here to be their voice.
Dear Mr. President, my name is Peter Park and I am 12 years old. I'm here to speak on behalf of the 3 million North Korean brothers and sisters who died of starvation, many who are my age. These are my blood-related brothers and sisters, and I'm here to be their voice.
Dear Mr. President, my name is So-yoon Lee, and I'm here with Mr. Ji Sung-ho, who was caught while trying to escape to North Korea and was severely beaten for a week when he was 16, which is my age. These are my blood-related brothers and sisters, and I'm here to be their voice.
Dear Mr. President, my name is Brandon Park, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the many blood-related disabled brothers and sisters in North Korea who are mistreated and abandoned. I am standing here with Ji Sung-ho, who was beaten more severely because he is disabled and told that he was a disgrace and to not leave his home. These are my blood-related brothers and sisters, and I'm here to be their voice.
Dear President Obama, you have heard the plea from those that are gathered here today on behalf of our suffering North Korean brothers, sisters, and orphans. They need your help. Please assist our suffering North Korean orphans by enacting all provisions of the North Korean Human Rights Act. Please implement the North Korean Adoption Act. Please compel China to grant safe haven to the North Korean refugees residing within its borders. We will not stop until they're allowed to leave to a third country willing and able to accept them. All of us standing here today, in unity with the millions throughout the world, make this promise today that we will not cease crying, shouting, or praying until all of our suffering North Korean brothers, sisters, and orphans are freed to back on their own. God bless America.
Peter and Joel, why don't you guys come up for a minute? Joel, come on, just give them a hand. Now, why do you think I asked them to come up? Because they went last year. They were our youngest. They were 12 years old, and I'm sure they were nervous. And I came here today, and some of you guys already picked up your packages and said, "Do I have to do a speech?" And you know what? Yes, first timers, we want all of you to write a speech, and we're going to go into that later on. But Peter did a great speech, and Joel did a great speech. And Peter, were you nervous? Tell me about it.
All right. I was a little nervous at first, but you just gotta push it away, and you have to be strong, because that's your duty for that time. You have to be the voice for the speechless. That's why we're here, and we just have to focus on that. And even if we're nervous or anxious or anything, we just have to push it away and just focus on the end goal of freeing our brothers and sisters.
Awesome. Great. Joel?
So, doing this speech at first is nerve-wracking, and it's okay. You mess up a lot of times. I know I messed up many times on my speech. Yes, I stutter a lot also. But the fact that you're there shows that you are supporting a worthy cause. You are being the voice for the voiceless, and we all are making a difference. So just being there and saying a speech is supporting a good cause. So be proud.
Thank you. All right, let's give them a hand. And we're so proud of them because, you guys, look, we know it's tough. You wake up at 6:30 in the morning, you go out, and you have your breakfast. We start off with a prayer service and all that. We leave for DC at 9. And you guys come back about 7 o'clock. We have more sermons, more testimonies, more everything, more training. You go to bed at 11. And guess what? More than half of you come back every year, like Joel and Peter. And so it's a worthy cause. And we're really proud of you. And thank you for coming back again. So after that, what we'll be doing is we'll be going to the West Lawn of the U.S. Capitol. And at the West Lawn is a place where it is at the U.S. Capitol. This is the exact place where President Trump and all the other presidents before him, except for Ronald Reagan, was inaugurated as a U.S. president. And we have the entire lawn reserved. We usually have 3 to 5 come on a normal basis. The most we had in 2012 was 14. We had 12 members of Congress come. But it's exciting, and we want to be there. We want more to come. But it took us 2 hours to finish, and it was hot. But why are we there? To be the voice. So, it's great. That's Chairman Ed Royce. He is actually the most powerful person for us because he's the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee. He makes all the schedules and agenda and all that. And I really want to thank him because like Pastor Dan, he came every year to the West Lawn since 2010, every one of our rallies.
Well, those were the Korean Church Coalition.
These are some examples of congressmen who come and speak to you. They're Christians. They pray for you guys. They also give you sermons too.
Well, those with the Korean Church Coalition, those who are here today, these pastors, those of you who stand in solidarity, and we are at 147 signatures on that bill, although Peter Freeman just told me we had gotten up to, he thinks over 180. I want to thank.
Last year I co-sponsored H.R. 1771. The North Korean Sanctions Enforcement Act of 2013, which sought to strengthen existing financial, economic, shipping, and human rights sanctions on North Korea. Like you, I am concerned about the rights of North Koreans, and I am glad you have been able to take action on this issue.
It's as basic as having something to eat every day. As basic as if you say something, if you want something different, they put you in prison. The tortures that we heard about today, the crippling of a people, the great famine of that country, and the continuing lack of human rights to the people of North Korea.
The bonds, loosen the chains that bind the North Korean people and allow them to be free, you will see an economic and religious and a personal explosion in goodness around North Korea.
That's what they are, human beings that deserve our care, our attention, and they deserve, as our founding fathers said, the rights given by God of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Today, we speak for those people denied those rights in North Korea.
I'd like to thank you for being the voice for the voiceless in North Korea. Here's a t-shirt to show you our appreciation.
All right, let's go.
This folder holds the information for KCC.
All right. We're so excited.
Let us continue to pray. Let us continue to pray for the people of North Korea. Let us continue to pray for people all around this world who lack our freedoms, and for all those who have been denied their inalienable rights. I stand with you in the prayer. I stand with you on this legislation. I stand with you in this fight. God bless you for being here today.
After that, we'll be going to visit with our members of Congress. This year, we'll also be going to the Senate. Tuesday morning, we're going to the Senate because there's a couple legislation that are not passing. And if it passes the Senate, then it comes back to the House and it can go to the President. So Tuesday morning, we're going to the U.S. Senate for 2 hours. And then on Wednesday after the rally, we'll be going to the congressional offices for a couple hours. A lot of times we got too many people. So we divide into groups, but then also a lot of times you will be meeting in the hallways. Sometimes they have rooms reserved for us just to meet with us, and so we can all express. This is the Senate Foreign Affairs chambers. A lot of times when you go into meet with members of Congress or the Senate offices, this is one of the Senate offices, you'll be presenting to them. We'll have different groups. Every one of your groups, you'll have a leader. You'll have a college leader, and then we'll have one leader who is a high school senior who's been there before, and then about 7, 8 of you will be in that group, and you'll be followed by adults behind you too. So it's kind of like on-the-job training. You see what they do, and you follow them along, and they'll be teaching. Like the next video is, I keep doing this because it's a great video. Why do we have you memorize your speeches first time? Because when you write your speeches, guess what happens? It comes naturally. I'm here to speak on behalf of the voiceless. My North Korean brothers and sisters have no voice. The North Korean orphans roam the streets in search of food and shelter. All of these are key quotes that once you write about it, one of you wrote about the North Korean refugees. One of you wrote about the North Korean orphans. One of you wrote about the 130,000 who are in the prison camps. One of you wrote about the 3 million. So you're here together and you're talking to members of Congress, you all jump in. Your leader does not do all the speaking. Your leader just goes there, present, and you can jump in and kind of mention it to him too. Like the next one, kind of want to see what happens.
So we're from the KCC, and that is the Korean Church Coalition, and we stand for human rights for North Koreans, both people inside of the country and refugees and orphans who are outside of the country as well.
We're trying to use that for human rights movements in North Korea for taking care of orphans, for example, in China.
Yeah, and then I'm sure you've heard about the Laos 9, which is the 9 North Korean orphans, pretty young, 15 to 23 years old. They were repatriated from Laos back to North Korea, which is the first place they wanted to escape. So we don't know if they're alive or dead right now. So
you'll be going there as a group. There'll be 10 members in your group. You'll have about 5 to 10 adults, and you go around taking turns doing like that. Some of the members of congressmen, they'll actually invite you into their offices and will speak. Here's one where Congressman Chairman Ed Royce, we went there. He wanted us to show us the Foreign Affairs room. They were going to have a meeting, but then the meeting didn't start yet, so he still wanted to show us, and he took us in there last year. And I just want to show you what the Foreign Affairs for the House, which makes policy for the whole world, including North Korea and China, looks like.
See, in the Foreign Affairs Office.
We'll check. The hearing's just not getting underway. They haven't started yet.
They haven't started? Come on in, I'll just show you the Foreign Affairs Committee.
I'm just like, dude, don't go out of town. It takes
Elementary, junior high, high school students, we go to Washington, D.C. We pray at all the different locations. We hold open prayers. We have benedictions. We visit with members of Congress. And they treat you guys like royalty because, it's the power of the prayer. Behind you guys, we have thousands of pastors just praying for this cause. And that's the only reason why we're able to do what we can do is to go to DC, pass legislation, tell the people about it, learn about it, hear testimony from North Korean refugees about their life, and then come back also and go back to your schools and tell others about it because you've learned about it.